Welcome to the Planted Not Buried podcast. I'm your host, Lance Thonvold, motivational speaker and former professional athlete with the Seattle Mariners. The mission of this podcast is to sow seeds of hope into your soul, dig up deep roots of purpose within you that have yet to be uncovered, and grow you exactly where God has planted you so that you can reap your ultimate harvest in life. I will be your host throughout this podcast, and you can expect power-packed, spirit-led, short, motivational messages designed to pierce your heart and move you into immediate action. Whether you're at the gym, in the car, or anywhere in between, I know how busy your life is, and want to personally thank you for taking the time to listen. My message for you is this: you are here on this earth for a reason. You've been planted for a season, and it's time to grow into all you're supposed to become. Please partner with me in planting this message of hope all over the world. And it starts with sowing one seed, sowing one episode into somebody else's life that could change them forever. Not because of me and my power, but because of God and the words He is going to speak through me and the way He is going to use you to distribute this message. Here are a few ways that we can plant this message into other people. Number one, subscribe to the podcast. I'll be dropping frequent messages designed to uplift, encourage, and reshape the way that you think. Please leave a review. I'm always going for a 5-star rating. Number two, just share this podcast with somebody else. You're hearing this for a reason. Pour out this message to somebody else that needs it. Share it via text, or just simply take a screenshot and post it to your Instagram story and tag me, and I will always do my best to give you a shout out and a repost. You can tag me at LannyT42 on Instagram, and with your help, together we can keep plowing for a more purposeful tomorrow. And put your gloves on, folks, because we got root work to do. Welcome to the Planted Not Buried podcast. Title of today's message is What Your Pain and Your Destiny Have in Common. What your pain and your destiny have in common. Man, this one was laid on my heart, and the intent of this episode is for somebody that's going through big pain or a little bit of pain, a big problem or a small problem, to know that it's actually for you and ultimately is for other people. So the time in my life where I think about the biggest pain that I faced was when I had to go under the knife. When I had to go under the knife to rehabilitate my elbow and get Tommy John surgery. Like, that was physical pain, and it led to 3 years of painful rehab physically, and under the knife I had to go. But that wasn't the hardest part. That wasn't the most painful part of that process. The most painful part of the process was actually going under and going into the unknown, of revealing a lot of the old constructs of who I used to be and who I was, and the hero I had created for myself as a baseball player, as a professional athlete. I had created my own hero, and my time in rehab wasn't just to rehab my elbow, it was to rehab my heart and go to the unknown places that I need to rip out of me. Okay, so that was crazy time for me. And that was the hardest pain that I felt. Not the physically, yes, that was painful, but I had a big problem with my heart and my mind. And there was some deep, deep depths of things that I had to go into, in the darkness I had to climb into, in order for me to come out on the other side. Okay, so this is the intent of this episode, is to help you get through it. So the 3 ways to dissect your pain, that's where I want to start. Like, this is going to be a quick one. Number 1 is when you get that pain, when you get that trial, when you get that strife that comes over your life, whether that's, social media bullying, something so simple as that, strife with your family, in your relationship, or like you literally you break your leg, you break like your bones, or something tragic happens to you with cancer or something like that, you're facing some level of pain. And before I even move forward, I gotta say that our level of pain and strife and tragedy is so deeply personal to us. We can't judge somebody else's pain based upon our perception. So get that through your head. Like the next time you want to judge somebody else's pain and the magnitude of it, it's solely determined upon how they view it and the weight that it holds on their heart. That's how we judge our own pain. There can be somebody you believe that isn't going through a hard time, but it could be the hardest thing that they've ever gone through. So the weight of it carries so much, weight to them that they feel a level of pain that's beyond what you would think they should feel. That's where we need to help other people understand that we can't be the judge of somebody else's pain. So number one, how do we get through it? How do we dissect our own pain? Right? Number one is it's okay to be disappointed. So disappointed is number one. When you face pain, when you face tragedy and strife and turmoil in your life, number one, it's okay to be disappointed. That is a feeling and an emotion that is human. Like you have a heart, you've been given a heart for a reason, you should be a human. Be a human and feel it. It's okay. I think for so long, and especially men, like we want to suppress disappointment. We want to suppress things that hurt and bury them. And the problem with burying things is there's no place for it to go. Like it's going to build and build and build until it bursts. You bury your disappointment, you bury your burdens, you bury your pain, you bury that strife in your marriage, you bury those hurtful words that people speak into you, you bury that circumstance that keeps coming to the surface that you never actually articulate, that you never actually meet head on. I know in my marriage, early on, like I'm from Minnesota, people don't bring up their feelings in Minnesota. Like people don't fight. Like it's Minnesota nice. And I think we're always trying to cover up our feelings. Midwestern, nice people. We're trying to cover up our feelings so we don't bring them to the surface. So early on in my marriage, like if something was bothering me, I didn't bring it up. Okay, so number one is you got to let the disappointment wash over you. So when I went under the knife and I felt that pain, this isn't something that I did right away. When I went under the knife right away, and I knew I was going to be out for at least 12 months, I was so focused on the next 12 months and how quickly I could come back that I didn't have a chance to dissect the disappointment that I just faced. It's okay to face disappointment. It's okay to feel that emotion, feel it, and move past it and don't bury it. Because if you bury it, it's going to burst at some point. It's going to come out of you. It's going to come out of you hot. It's going to come out of you like a firework. How many people do you know that you think in their life, you see them, and you go, they got it all together. They got everything all together. And then something happens and they just burst. Like they just explode. It's because they've been burying feelings for so long. Number one way to dissect your pain, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay. Let that feeling emotion. You're human. You have a heart. Okay. Number two is you got to get into dialogue. You got to get into dialogue with yourself. You got to get into dialogue with God. And that could be happening simultaneously, but get into some sort of dialogue about the pain that you're going through. Get into that dialogue. Get into it. Get into the dialogue. Don't run away from the dialogue. You got to get into that because that's going to reveal some things to you that's going to help you realize that this pain is actually your destiny. This pain is actually for other people. So get into dialogue, start praying about it, like asking God, like, what are you trying to show me here? Asking God, like, how can you use this? Asking God not to remove this affliction in my life, but give me access to the Holy Spirit and what he's trying to do through this pain and this turmoil. That's the dialogue I would start to get into. Like when there's something that comes up in my life that is unexpected, it's out of the blue, it's disappointing, it's painful either physically or mentally. A lot of the problems that we have in today's world are mental problems, anxiety, we have worry, we have things that come up in business and personal life. They're not necessarily you getting punched in the mouth, but you're getting punched in the mouth mentally. You're getting punched in the heart. You're getting a knife stabbed in your back. Like those are disappointments. Those things can be painful, not physically but mentally. So we got to get with God. Like get with him and start having a dialogue in prayer and meditation to like what he's trying to show you. And he's going to reveal some answers to you that you just start to journal them, start to really look deep into them and let it simmer and sit on your heart a little bit and get into that dialogue and start asking questions that are countercultural. Like culture tells us, get me out of this situation. We should start asking, what are you trying to teach me here? How is this growing me? The dialogue can dissect your heart. God, where am I stumbling? Where am I going wrong? Those are high level questions, like high spirit led questions that could change your life. Like how can you show me where I'm going wrong here in my thinking that I want to get out of this so quickly, but really, what if I sit in this pain for a little while longer? How could I start to prosper the way that you want me to prosper, God? How could this show other people a different plan and a different path if I get through it? And that leads me to the last thing. The third way to dissect your pain is you got to realize it's your destiny. Like this pain that's coming over your life, it's for you. It's your destiny. It's been predetermined. And there's so many people that run from it and quit from it that they don't reach their destiny. They don't reach their mission field. They don't reach the minds that they're supposed to reach. Like, come on. You are supposed to go through these depths of darkness. And what I mean by that is there's these depths to this darkness that you're facing that is for you and for other people. And the reason that you're going through the darkness is because you've been planted there. You haven't been buried there. No. You've been planted there in this darkness, in this pain, in this trial, in this strife, whether it's big or small, whether it's physical or mental, whether it's on your heart or whatever the case may be. You've been planted in this deep depth of darkness, okay? And the destiny on your life is in the dig. And when I say that, the dig in digging yourself out, in digging yourself out of the darkness, and how you overcome and how you dig yourself out is laying a new path for somebody else to walk down. The darkness you got to go to, the dialogue you can converse with God about, he's trying to show you a different way to look at it, and it's your destiny because you're going to start to dig your way out. You're going to start to dig and create these footholds and a footpath for somebody else to walk through when they go through the same darkness that you're facing. When they go through the same darkness that you had to go through. And that is your mission. That is your destiny. Is helping somebody else walk through it. Because you were strong enough. You were good enough. You were allowing yourself to go through it for somebody else. So that you could go to your destiny and dig yourself out so that you could pull somebody with you when they go through their darkness. That's why you're going through the thing that you're going through. Like, come on, it is your time. When you go through pain, trials, and strife, just know you can dig your way out. And it's for somebody else. And that's the destiny that's on your life when pain comes over your life. Tune in next time. Like I always say, put your gloves on. We got root work to do. Thank you for listening to the Planted Not Buried podcast. Remember, you're here on this earth for a reason. You've been planted for a season, and it's time to grow into all you're supposed to become. Please partner with me in planting this message of hope all over the world. It starts with just sowing one seed and sowing one episode into somebody else's life that could literally change them forever, not because of me and my power, but because of what God is going to speak through me and how He's going to use you to distribute His messages. And here's just a few ways that we can plant this message into other people. Number one, just subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to be dropping frequent, power packed messages designed to uplift, encourage, and reshape the way you think. Leave a 5-star review and just share this podcast with somebody else. You're hearing it for a reason. Pour it out to somebody else that you know that needs it. Pray about it, think about it, and share it with them via text, or just take a screenshot and post it to your Instagram or Facebook story. And I'll always do my best to give you a shout out or repost. And with your help, you guys, together, we can keep plowing for a more purposeful tomorrow. If you want to get connected with me further, or have me come out and speak to your school, speak to your organization or team, just go to lancethonvold.com and fill out the booking form, or just simply email me at info@lancethonvold.com, or we can get connected on all social platforms under Lance Thonvold or LannyT42 on Instagram. As always, guys, put your gloves on because we got root work to do. We will see you next time on the Planted, Not Buried podcast.